Welcome back to One-on-One with Mr. U. Of course, I am your host, Mr. U. In studio with us, speaker, writer, NLP certified coach, and founder of the Growth Myndset Initiative. Stephen McConnell is here with us today. How are you, Stephen? Good morning.
Doing very well. Good morning. It's an honor to be here, Mr. U.
Same here, same here. You may recognize the space. We had an opportunity to try to do this before. We had some technical difficulties, but things sound much clearer and better now. So I'm excited about this conversation, Stephen. Let's get into it a little bit. But before we do that, if you're watching, listening for the very, very first time, of course, in our show notes today, if you are a watcher or listener, you can follow our work there and all of our shows under the They Call Me Mr. U brand of podcasts. Of course, we're on every listening platform and on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/They Call Me Mr. U. So thanks again for watching and listening to our show and making us part of your week. We appreciate it. All right, so Stephen, you talk a lot about bridging the knowing and the doing gap. I want to get into that, but first, let's hear a little bit about you, man. Where are you from? How'd you come up? How'd you get to the place where you are today doing the kind of work that you're doing? Kind of as brief as you can, kind of share that with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, as brief as I can. Well, I was born and raised in a loving family. When I was younger, we were in financial scarcity. I saw my parents work as a team to build their entrepreneurship and so forth. One of the things that I didn't realize is I had learned a lot of coping loops from an environment to where it led to alcoholism, where I was considered an extreme introvert. And I'd learned all of those until I built self-awareness to live intentionally. And that's what's gotten me to where I'm at now, where I am an NLP coach. That's where I practice every single day to be intentional, to check some of the still existing loops and teach and grow anybody else and empower them as I go.
I love it, man. If you can, in a sentence or two, kind of encapsulate what an NLP certified coach does. Can you break that down real quick for those that are watching and listening today? Go ahead.
Neuro-linguistic programming. And it sounds very fancy.
Scientific.
Scientific, yeah. So the coach really looks at those coping loops that I was speaking about, the emotions and the memories that are associated, because our subconscious and our memories are built upon emotions first. Our subconscious doesn't speak language. It speaks emotions and images and so forth. An NLP practitioner or coach has learned to go back as far as they can through the layers of emotions to build a better designed, intentional life, if you will.
Okay.
And so when it was first created, NLP was really a therapist deal, but they found patterns where not only could they help those people with the large traumas or simple phobias that they cannot exist within life. They see a spider and they're gone, right? Or whatever. They've been able to help those. NLP came a way to where, as you learn up through coaching and into mastery, you can learn those skills to where we walk an individual through being able to reset those triggers, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, I think I follow you here. All right, so it sounds like you came from a family of entrepreneurs. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I'd love for you to share with our audience, because I know that there's a lot of people who watch our show and listen to our show as well on the audio podcast side, and they are venturing into they have their toes dipped into the entrepreneurial river, if you will, right? Give us a real quick synopsis of both sides of that. You grew up as watching entrepreneurship modeled by your parents, so obviously you picked something up from them. Did you see that as a plus for you, that you were able to learn that so early and not kind of fall into the common patterns of kind of doing the normal process, which is, go to school for over a dozen years, get a good job, get a degree, those kind of things. Are you an advocate for pro entrepreneurship because you grew up in a household, or do you have a different view of that? Go ahead.
Oh, there's so many questions and so many thoughts there. I love that.
Yeah.
I'll say my childhood gave me the passion for entrepreneurship.
Okay.
My mindset was to rebel. And therefore, for 30 years, I lived in the corporate world unhappy. Some of the principles of entrepreneurship were there. I always drive toward. I always experimented with different ideas and drop shipping and all of these different things, not realizing that my purpose, my drive, my love is to be of service as an entrepreneur.
Wow.
So the rebellion part of it is maturing, if you will. And I would honestly also say that when I was in the environment, I had my proverbial head up my butt. I didn't realize what I had had. I didn't realize to stop and be curious and say, what's this? Teach me this, teach me that. And so as they grew their businesses, I became entitled.
Wow.
That would be the blunt, transparent part. Became very entitled towards it.
Copy that. That makes sense. The idea of entrepreneurship, I'll be honest about it. I rebelled a little bit myself. I didn't have that in my household model. My household was more of the traditional household.
Yeah.
So I just rebelled against whatever the tradition was. But I really fought against entrepreneurship for almost 30 years. It took me a long time to figure out, you know what, this is where I was supposed to be. This is where I was best suited for. This is where I thrived the most. So I love that you spoke that to our viewers and our listeners. I think people think entrepreneurship, you know what, having an idea, having a business, and you just build it, everybody's going to come. But there's so much collaborative, intentional building that's going on there, community networking. So that's why I talk about it a lot. If you're on my social media, you see it often because I'm like, that is the thing that I missed and I didn't have all these years. So I love that you, even though you rebelled against it, you came back and you recognized that it was the best place for you to serve the most people doing something that you loved, and you had a value system behind. So I love that. When we were talking in our pre-interview, you talked a lot about your time dealing with alcohol. I think it's about 20 years or so. If I heard you right, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to misquote you here. It sounds like you said you beat that habit all by yourself. And yes. People who are watching and listening who are like, I'm sorry, what? This man was had alcohol addiction for 20 years, and he didn't go to, I don't think he went to the AA program. I don't recall that being a part of our discussion. Nope. So he didn't go into AA. He beat the habit by himself. Stephen, you got to explain how you beat alcohol after 20 years. That's way more than a habit now. It's a lifestyle now after 20 years.
Yeah,
you
true.
beat the habit by yourself. Tell me how you did that, because I don't understand.
Well, I'll go back to the entrepreneur thing and equate it to being a gym person building muscles, right?
Okay.
To build something, building muscles, you have to be in it mind, body, and soul. Your identity is there, right? Okay. And so building a healthy life is times 10 at least. That's the entrepreneurial journey. Now let's equate that to drinking. Let's equate that to sobering up. And at a point in time, my identity of myself as an alcoholic, as living not healthfully, feeling the pains every single day, emotionally tampering down my emotions and so forth. And my spiritual journey, obviously, same, tampered down. Those realizations was like onions being just peeled, and you're crying and you're crying and you're realizing you are not who you want to be. You are not who you should be. That pain became so much that I started to change different things. First and foremost, I went from hard liquor to wine, thinking that that's the issue. And then with wine, I also started experimenting with eating vegetables and, knowing that my health is deteriorating, my blood pressure, just really starting to experiment. Those experiments, those curiosities built spark of self-awareness. The spark of self-awareness allowed me to have an entrepreneurial or corporate term, KPIs, key performance indicators, to where I can experiment and iterate and improve. And so eventually there was a point in time where I realized that alcohol in general completely needed to be out of my life. It's not who I am.
I love it.
Then the spiritual, the health, and also the emotional came into it. And the NLP coach is what drive the emotional healing.
I love that. Well, so people that I can't imagine people are thinking, just because, there's been so many traditional ways that we have been encouraged to, or it's been recommended that we do things a certain way, we solve certain problems certain way. This is the way. If you don't do it this way, it's not really being done correctly. So I love that you have an alternative mindset toward that. I think we're going to flesh it out a lot more outside of the alcohol addiction and some other areas, because some of the things that you talk about, I feel as though they really point to what happens when you have the right mindset. So we're going to get into your initiative a little bit, but talk to me about the bridging the knowing and the doing gap. What does that mean? And how does that apply, do you think, to people who may be watching and listening on both of our platforms today? The knowing and the doing gap. How do you bridge that? What does that mean?
All right. So New Year's resolution. Let me ask you, Mr. Yu, have you ever created or had a New Year's resolution?
Many, many years ago, that's when I figured out that it didn't work. But many, many years ago, I did definitely have one. I planned, and before they said Happy New Year, I had this plan that the next following year was going to be different. I was going to do this different. I was going to go to the gym more. I was going to eat better, have better relationships. You name it. Get up earlier. You name it. I did it all. Yeah. And
by February 1st or by March.
How about mid-January?
Okay, see. What was the difference between there and there is the knowing versus the doing. The knowing is, you want to be that person. You know that these things are beneficial and more aligned with who you are. The emotional part of it stops you. And there's different parts of it. There's different sections of the emotional. Think about something that you don't like to do. The thing 5 minutes to 10 minutes before it is a pain point that stops you from doing it, or the title or category you call that thing. I don't like doing accounting. It's mundane. It's boring, right? The mindset behind it. And therefore, if you go into it and say, well, I do accounting so that I can see my P&L, so that I can, and this allows me to push forwards and drive my clients to have the transformations that they have, you're now reframing that emotional tag on a mundane topic that you don't like to do, and therefore you can do.
I think I got you. That definitely happens to all of us.
Yes.
These plans that we have. I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore. I think it's a waste of my precious time. But I totally get how emotions can get in the way. And I definitely want to come back to that to ask you why you think emotions hinder us and get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish in life. Let's talk about you and your new initiative, the Growth Myndset Initiative. Why did you start that? What was the end goal there, and what are you seeing through his journey?
Oh, all right. Well, I have had, through the journey, through being, alcoholic and all of this, I've always had this calling to be of service.
Okay.
And to help others. Through my life, I had done it many different ways in the wrong ways. I would see somebody that I cared about, and I would then impart my beautiful knowledge upon them in a way that would just kind of turn them off.
Yeah.
And I'm being very kind to that. So I remember once I realized my North Star, my dream, my journey is to solve poverty for this world.
Wow. Okay.
So is it going to happen? I don't know, but I would love to build the team that builds the team that builds the team that builds the team 550 years from now. Human beings are in a more secure spot. My journey is to that. Once I realized how of service and the deep passion behind it, I remember every part of my life that aligned with it. And I remember like pre-kindergarten, there was, and this is dating back, right? Pre-kindergarten. Wow. I remember one particular book on the bookshelf. It was Bible stories, but it was pictures. And I knew the Bible stories. And I would sit there in the teacher's chair when the teacher wasn't paying attention, and I would just sit there and tell the stories because I wanted people to know the stories. I wanted to help them. And that's one of my fondest remembrances, is because it's that passion that drives me now. And so Growth Myndset Initiative, right now we are addressing emotional intelligence and mindset frameworks through neuro-linguistic programming, executive coaching, team dynamics. We're doing all of that simply because mindset is 90-something +% of our own personal realities. My mindset changed before I had to see who I was going to be before I sobered up. I had to see my spiritual journey before I became deeper in my spiritual journey. And so there's absolute poverty and there is relative poverty. A large portion of relative poverty is just that. It's mindset, it's generational learning, it's learning from families and environment and growing from that and repeating it.
Okay. I want to get you to, this is not to break down what you do and to tear you down. Please understand that's never my intention. I've interviewed several NLP coaches. I don't know how many it's been, but it's been a lot. For some reason, they seem to find me. I'm not quite sure exactly why yet, but I want to talk to you about the P in NLP, because just where our world is headed and the things that you hear in the room, the chatter, the commentary, the word, that P stands for programming. Tell me how you help people get over the hump of being able to hear what you have to say and perhaps be a client of yours when that P is ringing out so much. It's not the neuro-linguistic part. It's the program. Are you going to program me? How do you help people get past what's a clear barrier of entry for a lot of people? This could be a new question that you have been asked before. I don't know, but I'm pretty good at doing that if that's what's happening. But what does that programming mean to you? That word. How do you work around the challenge people have with the mindset of that, and how does that affect your work?
The programming part, and to simplify the programming part, Joe Dispenza says, well, it's not his quote, but he repeats the quote. I'm not remembering who the quote actually, anyways. Okay. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Neurons that fire together, wire together.
So if you think about it just again, like a muscle, right? And you build your muscle, whatever you repeat happens over and over again, and those brain neurons fire and strengthen. I am a bodybuilder I was a bodybuilder as far as alcoholism is concerned, right? And then I had to learn something new. Those new neurons didn't fire. Now, how to bridge that, I usually encourage clients to start the self-awareness journey. The self-awareness journey allows them to see beginning parts of where they are and their ego. The ego is a blocker. Anything after, and you might recognize the term from the Bible, anything after I am is ego. So I am a excellent coach. Excellent coach is ego. Done. I am. State of being is exactly where we need to be in the self-awareness journey. Therefore, bridging that, and it's difficult per client. It's well, not difficult. It's depending upon each client. The level of difficulty is there. Because if someone like me in my 20s, heavy ego, always pushing my thoughts upon everybody else, speaking to myself now to then, I don't know if I would necessarily be able to reach myself, be honest. Be transparent.
Gotcha.
So I aim to initiate self-awareness, and I also aim to initiate what, like my North Star, what I've stated my North Star, somebody else's North Star, their journey. And in this way, self-awareness and their journey starts to show who they're supposed to be, who they are. In that process, I've found that usually develops a skill of passion. I don't want to use passion because passion is emotional, but there's core values, which I call skills: love, respect, trust, faith. Those are skills, you practice them. And therefore, passion is also one of those. And that's exactly what I aim to initiate in each client.
I love that. Yeah, that's really good, man. And to answer your question, that quote was by Donald Hebb, H-E-B-B, 1949. I wasn't around then, so I didn't hear it when it was originally spoken. It predates me a little bit. But Donald Hebb, H-E-B-B. Maybe a trivia question for us after we close the show. But I want to ask you about, now, you talk a lot about personal mastery, and that's something I think I work through just as a high performance coach, and the clients that I would potentially be dealing with. Those are the kind of things that I think I would deal with as well. Inside out leadership, we talk about a lot of those things. You created a practice called the 7 Laws of Personal Mastery. I'm not sure whether you're willing to disclose those here. If you're not, and it's in the book, I totally respect it. That's so. Maybe you can just share the idea of the personal laws, and maybe just 1 or 2 of the laws, and not reveal the whole 7 laws of this ingrained in some of the other work.
I'm not afraid of the book. Will be published in sometime this summer. But the 7
congratulations, man! Congrats.
Thank you. The 7 laws are clarity of vision, consistency of action, alignment with core values, and as explained, those are skills, ownership and accountability, emotional intelligence, adaptability in growth mindset specifically in the book, and reflective learning.
Okay.
Those are, and if one is done right, your life transforms. If you build a system with them, you're continuously growing. It's almost continuously painful, but you're choosing your growth, right? You're choosing intentional living, and isn't that exercising entrepreneurship, everything we've been talking about?
I love that framework, man. I love that. Honestly, one of the reasons why I felt like you would be a great fit for this show, and I say this not to be facetious, just be being honest, and I'm honest. Every time I turn this mic on, I'm honest when the mic is off too. But when people come on our show, there's certain people who I bring on for somewhat selfish reasons. I feel like I connect with them, and I feel like they get me. They get what I do. They are great referral partners for me. We get to kind of connect and vibe and network in the same spaces, and it helps us both thrive and grow. And I know I probably sent you, I don't know how many texts and emails since we had our pre-interview, probably a lot. You know what I'm saying? But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, because I deal with leaders who are overthinking, overanalyzing the situation. They're close to burnout, but they're detecting that they're in that burnout cycle. They don't even realize it until it already happens. They're dealing with real pressure, and they're losing their identity in the midst of it. This is what you deal with. And this is what I'm doing. I'm like, this is perfect. So out of those 7 laws of personal mastery, what, in your experience, what do you believe is the one that people just struggle to get that one ingrained? It's a hardship for them to get that one handled. It's always just that one. Is there one law you can think of that falls in that category?
I would say it's in between all of them, and it goes back to the ego.
The ego.
The ego. And that because we've learned how to protect, our subconscious naturally desires to protect who we think we are. And this, when I say who we think we are, it is the subconscious identity of who the subconscious thinks we are.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of people say, what are those continuous verbal reinforcements of I am successful, I am wealthy, I'm healthy. We're trying to speak to our subconscious when we should be building the identity to our subconscious, proving it through small actions. And I would say that it is the ego, because it's those loops that protect us. And the way around that is the core values, practicing those skills, reinforcing those skills while knowing where you're going.
Makes sense. Just a couple more questions and I'll get us out of here today. All right. So you spent 30 years in the corporate world. I guess I kind of was there that long, not in one place, just moving around in Fortune 500 companies and such. You talked about patterns that you're seeing in habits, in belief systems, limiting beliefs and that kind of thing. And you saw quietly caused burnout in leaders. So this is something I'm asking for selfish reasons specifically, because this is who I deal with, but you deal with them as well. What kind of habits or patterns did you see that let you know the leaders were being burnt out and didn't even realize it?
Habits that I see was always a form of distraction.
Okay.
You always see, like, for instance, I'm thinking of one particular individual whom I coached, where they jumped into every small fire, if you will, of the moment. And that distraction of the moment became lack of long-term thinking. The overthinking then starts in the self, us depreciating ourselves internally, us continuously overworking, working while we're off, receiving texts and calls from different teams trying to do the same thing. The small fires burns us out. And so I would say that would be the top number one, is always addressing some sort of distraction. And these days, our world is relatively distraction heavy. It creates that short-term thinking pattern.
Dude, I can go into this all day, man. You got to join my community, man. You got to accept my invite. You got to accept my community invite that I sent you, man. Join my community, man. This is the concept I want to talk about. This is good stuff right here. All right, so I want to stay focused on our time. All right, so one final question for you, Stephen. You guys who are not aware, this is the founder of the Growth Myndset Initiative, speaker, writer, and certified NLP coach, neuro-linguistic programming coach. I want to ask you one final question, and I'll give you a chance to speak to the people and let them know where they can find your work. Now, I think as somebody who has built this business, built this practice that you're engaging in now, you figured out who you can help, who you serve. Who can't you help? Who's somebody who is like, you know what, it comes to you as a client, potential client, and you know you can't help them. They just are in that list. You just can't help them. Name 3 or 4 types of people who will be on that list that you just can't, you can't help. No offense, but you're somebody that you can't, and not in your niche, I guess, if you could say that. 2 or 3 kinds of people.
Those people that I screen out, those people that I recommend to other people, are heavy on the egocentric. They know. They know. Hey, have you tried this? Yeah, I know. I've done that. Yeah, I know. No, I know this. And
Okay.
I do attempt to reach some at some levels, but when I feel that it's just going to be a battle, I don't know. I don't want to take on that challenge yet. At some
Okay.
point in Growth Mindset Initiative, we will hire therapists to where we can do that, right? So
Exactly.
I don't feel I'm skilled enough to have that just yet.
Fair.
Another one is the individuals who have a really large trauma. And I can work them, I can get them to a place where they're functioning better, more empowered. But overall, I recommend them to the master NLP coach that I'd studied under.
Okay.
And
Fair.
I would say, somebody that's, if I'm speaking to them, they have no level of wanting to change, wanting to grow. Yeah.
Okay. You can't send either one of those folks to me because I'm screening them out too. So don't send them my way. That's not what I need to do there. But Stephen, thanks for being here, brother. That was a fantastic interview, fantastic discourse with you, man. Take a couple of minutes, man, if you don't mind. Let people know where they can find your work and share any pearls of wisdom you may have within the next minute or two. Go ahead.
Pearls of wisdom, I would say that I believe it was Roy Disney who had said that know your values, know them very well, and every decision becomes easier. Where you can find me, mindsetgrowth.com. And that's spelt with MY. It's like you're owning your mindset, MYND setgrowth.com. There I have free resources. I have coaching links. I have memberships. All the resources are there. If you still want to study a little bit more about me, just like you're on LinkedIn, reach out to Mr. U, and reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, because we're both heavy on LinkedIn. So those are the three places.
Thank you very much, sir. Speaker, writer, NLP certified coach, and the founder of the Growth Myndset Initiative, Stephen McConnell. Thanks for being here, sir. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Great questions. I love it.
Same here, sir. Thank you for your answers. Fantastic answers. I'm Mr. U. We're out. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching and listening.